Hello, guys.
Hello there, Professor.
I'm sorry, it looks like. I got it. I wrote the message that I'll be late, but I did it to the wrong channel. Sorry. And yeah, I had no access to the internet. It's my fault. I'm very sorry. Yeah, but we can start now if it's okay.
No worries. I think it's okay.
Um, I'll just write some message to the Telegram so others can join and you can start. Okay, so I can see Anur and Neil here. Yeah. In this case, let's start from Glassdoor analysis. Yeah. Daniil, are you here? Okay, so I guess
Yeah, I can start.
The speaker. Yeah, so
yeah, I can start.
Let's start from the information diffusion rate.
Okay, I'm trying to share my screen. Probably you can see it right now, right?
Yeah, super.
Dear Professor, I'm here to present our project for social network analysis class. We have decided to investigate the relationship between social uncertainty and information diffusion rate in social networks. Well, first we have decided to use the data set scraped from Turkey, but the situation kind of got worse and we couldn't find the proper uncertainty index that we can scale. So we changed the project a little bit. You will learn about it during the presentation probably. Wait a second. Our communication channels can be seen in the slide. We're uploading documents to our GitHub page regularly for both R and Python. Our academic discussion keeps on the Telegram group and we share related literature over the Telegram. As we can see, our group is composed with 3 members, myself, Enes, and Victor. We have decided to focus on our work personally and meet once a week to discuss our progress. Currently, Victor focuses on the data scraping with Python from Twitter while using Twint package. His main focus is times with an increased uncertainty, especially the period before 2020. And after finishing scraping, he will participate in creating our network analysis. I'm focusing on finding key terms, which I will explain in a bit. I have kind of bagged Twitter for Twitter API, and surprisingly, it worked. And they have given access to Twitter API version 2. I'm using our programming language for data scraping. On the final part of the project, like Victor and Anes, we will work together for creating a network and for its evolution. Finally, NS is mainly focusing on the literature. His current interest is social uncertainty and related articles about it. Furthermore, he searches on some filtering techniques which we can use as an inspiration or a guide or a method. Our research focuses on the gap between social uncertainty and information diffusion rate. Obviously, social network analysis is an empirically motivated approach, and we have found that under social uncertainty, misinformation rate increases. Nonetheless, spread rate is still an obscure concept, which is veiled even with the related research. Our main hypothesis group is in correlation with the research as expected. You can see our hypotheses in the slide. Nonetheless, we have found a vast literature on the subject, and stating most of them under this slide would be resulted with a page that is conducted with sources only. So as expected, Twitter data mining is extremely common in literature of social sciences and marketing. For marketing, it is easy to think how it is useful, but for social sciences, there exist many unusual applications. Nonetheless, we are focusing on diffusion. We have searched information diffusion, belief in conspiracy theories, and social uncertainty on many levels. On the agent level, we have found that increased uncertainty will be resulted with more belief in conspiracy theories for reasoning the unknown or unexpected. Psychologically, we have found that especially some parts of the brain, mainly amygdala, evaluates the information before frontal cortex, which indicates that under pressure we aren't acting rational. On society level, we have found that the polarized societies have more interest in social uncertainty and misinformation. Finally, at cultural level, we have found that according to Hofstede Index, some cultures have more tendency towards misinformation and conspiracy theories. Nonetheless, as mentioned before, we have read or at least picked many articles which is related to misinformation and social sciences, but these can be given as main claims for the sake of the presentation. Currently, we have derived some keywords thanks to World Fact Checking Organization. Actually, one of my friends works there, so he kind of gave me she kind of gave me the data sets, and that's a great I think opportunity. We have communicated with them, and we have filtered the claims that has been made in United States in English and focused on the claims with misinformation. They have a partial degree system that evaluates the claim as true, mostly false, false rather than just Boolean logic. And nonetheless, after separating every word in the claims, we have filtered words that is commonly used in English with stop words corpus. With respect to ISO 639 to 1 language code, without dropping, we have accessed 62,486 words as far as we have glimpsed. It is mainly political. The misinformation is related heavily with political information, and which gives great motivation to social sciences students. Wow. I did put a table there, but I don't know where I can open my R while I'm showing it. I did, but probably I forgot to save it. It was pretty late at night. So our current data filters with some of the key terms from Twitter. As mentioned, I'm filtering Twitter between 2021 and 2022, and Victor is scraping the previous times. And finally, NS. Okay. Yeah, this is some examples of misinformation. Actually, they classified under the label as false, half true, mostly false, half true. We have like filtered the database according to this, and we have separated every word in every claim and dropped the common words that we found in the corpus. Well, after that, after this, we're currently trying to structure our social network next week with retweets and mostly retweets. I mean, we're not considering taking likes as interaction, so we're going to consider retweets mainly. So the second thing is we're going to fix the diameter of the okay, there's some current data, probably slides are mixed. So this is a current data from World Fact Checking Organization. And no, wait a second. This is World Checking Organization data, and this is Twitter data. And we scrap the key terms from here, and we're going to filter them in here. So we're after making a ranking system, we're going to filter words with our tweet package. And well, after that, we will create our general social networks, and we will use a fixed diameter. And after that, we will search and create a research on diffusion rates, especially. And finally, NS is measuring the social uncertainty. We have found many data sets that measures the social uncertainty, even with using Twitter, which may give more accurate results. Nonetheless, we are still evaluating our options. Well, there are plenty of methods to use, especially like liquidity demand, which is highly common in economics literature, or demand for fundamental consumption goods, still common in economics literature. Well, there are some new approaches, especially for US and Turkey, as we see. Generally, they're taking the data from Twitter and looking the key terms and making measurements on social uncertainty. Well, finally, we have decided on some shortcomings, such as constantly changing network structure. So therefore, as mentioned, we have decided to limit the diameter of the network for measuring the break rate or speed. As explained before, belief in conspiracy theories or misinformation is heavily related to cultural phenomena. Thus, results may differ outside of the United States, but we believe that methodology can be applicable to many other projects. And currently, I'm ready for any questions if they're not extremely hard.
Okay, so in fact, it looks like you have started from social uncertainty, because that's what was written at the very beginning of your research proposal. And then you a bit shifted to some kind of information diffusion process, yeah?
Yes, because relation. Actually, we were doing information diffusion, but we were construing. I mean, in our research proposal, we stated that we're going to use information diffusion in fixed diameters of networks, but we were going to use it. We were going to derive the data from Turkey, but social uncertainty index is extremely complicated, so we shifted to United States actually.
Okay, so the first question, how two those hypotheses are correlated with each other? Yeah, so you have social uncertainty and some fake news diffusion. Yeah, some news are fakes, others are not. And you think that if there are more fakes, then the social uncertainty increases.
Reverse version. If there exists a social uncertainty increases, we are assuming that there will be more misinformation.
Yeah. That's exactly that I said. But okay. So anyway.
Okay.
And what is the social uncertainty index from US? Can you open the 12th slide once again?
Yeah, of course. Wait a second. Yeah, here.
Amount of processed, demand for fundamental.
You can see it right now, right?
Yeah, I'm reading and thinking, are there any good ideas?
Okay.
That's kind of interesting question, because can we have a process in one area, for instance, I don't know, guys want better healthcare, and the growth of fake information in other area, for example, war between Russia and Ukraine. How to those trends are connected? Yeah, is there any correlation between them? Because people may do protests, but it will be some kind of wrong correlation with anything else. Maybe we can say that they'd better spend money on healthcare rather than sponsorship of some military actions. But I'm pretty sure, guys, that the United States have enough money for everything. I don't know if those trends are correlated, but in your current model, it looks like we will not see the differences. Yeah, and this is a bit, I don't know, frustrating. Yeah, generally, it looks like our first step and most of the social network analysis is somewhere in behind, is focusing on some kind of fake news modeling. Yeah, so that we can try to predict the size of the number of nodes that will be that will follow some trend, as we have discussed it yesterday. Yeah, because and another group that was, let's try to find it. Once again, COVID-19 conspiracy theories by Daria Grishina. Yeah, it looks like they have something very similar in terms of fake news detection, because so there are some conspiracy theories and some people start following them or not. Yeah, and it's very close to this fake news spreading, because so some people start believing those news, and you can highlight it with different reposts, retweets, and so on, so on. Yeah, so you can try to model this block of information and then try to see some correlations. But generally, it looks like just finding some information spreading strategies is quite enough for our course. And your second hypothesis is interesting. It's really good. But I'd rather recommend you to keep it outside the course, because otherwise you may lack time to do everything properly.
Okay.
Yeah, just try to focus on propagation right now, and then maybe after the course at summer, you can try to continue this research on different perspective.
But
So
can we reach to you after the course while doing
we have Telegram channel. Come on,
Okay.
I have email.
That's cool.
You can
Okay.
write me anytime. In fact, I'd be really pleased if some of our projects will continue to some research projects and finally end as articles. Yeah, this is the best result, and it means that this course values something. Yeah, so it would be great to continue this kind of work. But so right now it would be really hard to find the correlation. And once again, as I said to many people yesterday, the main problem here is a good research framing in terms of political and sociological science, because I have tried to talking about publication. Yeah, you can either write an article inside some computer science journal. Yeah, and usually computer scientists are interested in some specific methods. So you propose new, I don't know, gradient boosting strategy. Yeah, this is the computer science publication. And if you're applying some methods like gradient boosting to some problem inside economics or sociology, you need a very good framing, because I have personally tried to write several papers about some sociological phenomena from kind of computer science point of view. And true sociologists do not much like computer scientists. Yeah, they consider that everything goes too easily to computer scientists, and they just model fit predict and write an article. So there are lots of nuances.
Yeah. That happens in economics too. I know. I know. I know the story.
Okay, great. So there are not lots of problems when you're trying to show some computational methods inside the traditionally humanitarian field, yeah. And the discussion about the correlation of fake news and social uncertainty is requires a good discussion with experts. But so my recommendation here is the same. There are lots of those sociological, politological guys inside our lab, and maybe it would be great to talk to them. But for current moment, the best thing that you can do is just to try to finish your information or fake news spreading analysis, and then, given this analysis, go to some sociological expert and say, okay, I have the following data. They show the following results. How can we interpret them, and what else do we need to publish an article? And it would be much better rather than if you come with just idea, because you already have results. It would be much more interesting for the expert to talk to you, since he can look through your results. Yeah. So I highly recommend continuing working on social uncertainty just later. And an interesting thing, I tried to propose some kind of similar topic as the course paper this year, and the idea was in a strategy of measuring of some effects, because usually things that we can really measure is some, for example, these Twitter-derived measures, yeah. And most likely, so all the methods that try to analyze this stuff are based on sentiment detection. So if we see that there are lots of negative sentiment trends, most likely people don't like something, and so usually this uncertainty leads to some negative discussions, negative sentiment discussions on online social networks, because nobody likes to be uncertain, and guys start I don't know, talking toxically, being rude, to discussing how bad things are going on in the country. This usually leads to this kind of discussions. But generally, we're totally computing sentiment aggregations wrong, because everyone who are doing these kind of things are computing sentiment sentiment detection for all posts about one topic. And this is something similar to computing just the average temperature inside the hospital. Yeah, if you go in one exact post and thread inside some channel, you will see that different posts have different discussion patterns, because so people go to social networks because they want to discuss something. They want others to read their comments, at least if they're not bots. Yeah, so it's some kind of process, and one person may start with quite normal comments and end as a hater in one discussion, and vice versa. And the real fact that matters is not the total number of negative comments, but the end of the discussion. If this discussion ended up for this given user as with some negative comments and that he left, then most likely it leads to some negative feedback. If he arrived as some kind of hater with some problem, but then during the discussion he understood that maybe his situation is not so bad, maybe he wasn't so right, then we shouldn't count it as uncertainty or negative feedback. Yeah, this kind of analysis. And if you do some kind of precise analysis of each thread of the discussion, you'll get totally different measures of these coefficients. So I was really going to check it with one of the students, but it looks like it's very close to your idea, at least the third publication by Davis and Thomas Renaud. I'm pretty sure that they're measuring it as aggregated functions, and we can try to show that they're doing wrong. So we can combine to those ideas and add your idea about some fake news detection. The second question really about our course now is, are you going to analyze the fake news spreading or some trend spreading? Because it's a bit different. Yeah. For example, trend that coronavirus vaccine chips you and I don't know, makes you think the certain way is some kind of trend. But there were several information cascades that kind of spread it through the network and made this trend more popular. So trend is some kind of more global process where people start to believe something. And the question here, are you going to analyze how fake news are spreading or how people start believing those news?
Well, this is a great question. First of all, well, I would like to add one thing to your first question and your first suggestion, and this is pretty important for the aspect of the project. Well, I can say that if we are not going to measure the social uncertainty and fake news spreading, possibly it's better to use the Turkey data for us, and because we have like a list of users in Turkey that spread the most misinformation, around like 25. They're pretty popular actually. Once I did make an analyze on them, and their average retweet rate is around like, I don't know, 1,000 or something like that. I mean, they're constantly evolving, they're constantly updating their schedule. So if that is the case, probably returning to them and focusing on them and visualizing their social network is pretty much beneficial for us and for the timeline that is given to us. I mean, for the rest of the course. So probably turning to it will be resulted in a better situation.
I'm just afraid that you won't have enough time to do everything properly in case with social uncertainty.
Yeah, you're right.
Not because I don't believe in your computation skills. It's just because this topic is really hard to analyze. You don't. We don't have any measurable methods that can say that everything is good or everything is bad, and lots of time required to be spent to understand if we're doing right or not, and it requires much more time that we have inside this course. So your project idea is really great, but I'm a bit afraid at your final grade for the course. That's the only point.
Okay, thank you for that. So probably we will return to that and we will listen to your suggestion. And I think it's pretty wise if we're doing it like this. I mean, I don't know why we thought as a complex object at the beginning. I don't know why we didn't start from an easy point, but we started from a very hard point, and that's probably because of me.
That's okay. Lots of people inside academic area and in many other places tell me and tell other students to be more ambitious. Yeah, so you're ambitious enough to make some kind of complex researches, but generally you're trying to make two researches inside one. One about the news spreading and the second about the social uncertainty. And the best thing to do nothing is to try to do two things at one time.
Yeah, I know. If you're working on two things at once, you're working on zero things at once. So yeah, and probably we're going to use the most common misinformation spreaders in Turkey, probably. And well, this means that we're focusing on how they spread misinformation while filtering their tweets with key terms and graphing it with social network analysis. How about that?
That sounds pretty good. So your final research will be pretty close to the propagation of COVID theories, but they're analyzing theories and you're analyzing single news. And you have different data sets, different topics. So it would be really interesting to compare your results, and maybe you can exchange some ideas and borrow some methods from other groups, because there are at least two groups that are doing this information spreading thing.
Actually, that would be pretty cool if you, I mean, at least say me the titles of the papers, so I can search them and I can find them and I can text them.
You can just open our grades sheet at Google Doc, and I'll highlight it for you. Can you open it right now?
Okay, yeah, sure. Well, I need to find it first. No, not this one.
And I don't see a screen.
You don't see my screen? Great, because I'm in Telegram right now. I'm trying to find the.
That's how it's supposed to work.
Yeah. I'm trying to find the Google Docs. Well.
Okay, here is the link for you.
Oh, that's great. Thank you so much. Zoom is pretty smart. I didn't know this part of the thing.
Oh, okay, maybe.
Okay, I sent.
It sucks less than other tools.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I sent a request on Google Sheets.
Oh, it should be publicly.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's the copy for me. No, you
okay. Okay.
Let me give you another link.
I mean, it was a good attempt, but nonetheless.
I just tried to put some comments about your talks yesterday, and this is some wrong shit.
Well, wait a second. I'm going to share all of my screen. Now probably you can see it, right?
Yeah. So first of all, you can see the 7th line about propagation of COVID conspiracy. No, the 5th project at the 7th line.
7th line?
Return back. Yeah. You can see there are lines and project numbers. So you need the 5th project at the 7th line, because lines are a bit shifted with projects.
Okay.
Yeah, by Daria Grishina.
Yeah. I found it. Yeah.
This is the first one, and the second one. I guess Stanislav about Meta. As I remember, they have changed topic from Meta to something else, and they had a talk about it yesterday. So you can just see their video. I'll publish it and see what they're going to do, because I don't remember it in details right now, but as I remember, they are also doing some information spreading analysis there. So here are two main topics that and two teams that you may find interesting to collaborate with.
Okay, I will contact with Daria and Nasev.
And you can just say that, okay, we will try to implement this method and you will try to implement this algorithm, and then we will just change our code with each other and see if some algorithms suit better for your data or for our data. For example, one can pick some temporal graphs and the other group can implement InfoVec or something like this. And you will benefit from doing things once, but not 3 times for 3 groups. But it may be a bit risky, because your other groups may I don't know, may fail with their hypothesis, and you will depend on them. So just be careful when
Yeah, we're not going to
That's
merge
all.
the projects, but maybe we can share our methodology. I know.
You can share methodology and you can share some algorithms. That's okay.
Yeah, sure, sure.
Okay,
Sure.
great. So I guess we have discussed it in a very detailed way.
Yeah.
And I'm waiting for some results that you will show. As usual, consulting hours are welcomed if you want to discuss something.
Okay.
And since you'll have some results on this topic, we can talk about working on these uncertainty things and continue at summer. Okay.
Thank you so much for your interest and for the comments. I mean, it was pretty sincere, and I actually liked it, and they changed the idea in mind. So
Great.
thanks for that. If there is nothing more,
No, I guess we can move on with other
okay.
students because they were tired yesterday, I guess.
Yeah. I
Tired
know.
waiting.
I'm sorry.
Okay. I don't know. So who's in hurry? Who needs to go? Are there any students that want to be the next? If we're moving in terms of the schedule, then the next speaker is Sudarkina Svetlana about Stack Overflow. Svetlana, are you here?
Yes, hello, it's
Okay.
me. I think, okay, I will share my screen. Wait a minute, please. In the table, I've added some information. Dmitry joined my project, and if you have seen this information, it's okay. And if you haven't, it's some new information for you.
Okay, I'll be honest. I did my best to look through all proposals, but your was at the very bottom of the list, so I screwed up.
I see.
But I will listen very attentively right now, I swear.
The topic of our project is most common toolbox on Stack Overflow. As you know, Stack Overflow is a platform where you can ask and answer questions about programming. And so, moreover, there is a developer story. It's like the description of a user where you can add some tags that represent your experience in programming skills. And in our project, we will try to analyze these skills and say which skills are most common in this sphere. And moreover, we will try to teach the network machine learning, using machine learning to classify and predict the competence area of a person using his tags on Stack Overflow. One more thing, there was already a similar study, a paper with a similar study that called "What Skills Do IT Companies Look For in and we will compare our results with the results of this paper because I think it's quite interesting to know if other specialists receive the same results as ours or not. So the dataset that we used consists of two CSV files. We found it on Kaggle. The first dataset is called Stack Network Links, and it contains links of the network, the source and the target, tags, and the value of the link between each pair. And the file Stack Network Nodes contains nodes of the network, the name of each node, which group that node belongs, and node size based on how often that technology tag is used on Stack Overflow. In this picture, you can see the visualization of the large subgraph. This is not the whole graph, because there are some subgraphs that are not that are isolated. The color represents the group, for example, internet pages, machine learning and statistics, development, mobile development, and operation systems. We calculated degree and between centralities and plotted the histogram to visualize the results. The most common skills, as you can see here on the top, are connected to internet pages, for example, jQuery and HTML, they are here, and development, C# and Linux. Here you can see also these tags.
Which, so this is just the most popular skill. I do not see what centrality are you measuring. Yeah, so what's on the bottom of
on the left, I haven't
centrality.
Yes, this is the degree centrality. Sorry for that. And here you can see it is between a centrality.
Great, thank you.
Okay, and very informative slides. We also calculated the diameter of the graph, and not all of the whole graph, because they were isolated nodes. The diameter of the largest subgraph is 10, so I think it means that the most skills are not isolated from each other. And the graph is quite sparse. Its density is 0.07. And then while the number of edges equals to 500. For now, this is all that we have done, and further we plan to make a portrait of a usual IT specialist and train a classifier to predict competence area of a person. I think that is all.
Okay, great. So, in fact, I'm okay. Let's start from the organizational questions. Can you please add me to your Dmitry? I guess this is your GitHub. Can you please add me to your repository, because I cannot access it and see what's happening inside. And for all the rest of you who have their repositories outside the SNA 2022 organization, so it would be great if you give me access to look through what's happening.
Yeah, okay, I'll let you know.
Okay, great. Secondary, Svetlana, am I right that you haven't sent proposal? I have looked through my mailbox and haven't found it.
I have sent you.
I have just failed, yeah.
And it is not about the project. I have also sent you some conspects of your lectures, just in case you haven't seen that.
Yeah, I found you. Yeah, that's
okay.
great. because some people. Okay, so super. I found everything great, and topic for the course project is here. Super. So once again, then talking about the project. So I'm really happy that someone has decided to work with Stack Overflow because it's the great source of information about people, about ourselves, because we're more or less developers and users of this platform. And it's great that someone finally has decided to go in depth with it. Yeah. Question is, so what is the practical goal of your project? What are you going to do with this data set, and what's the final, I don't know, business value of the project, if there is any? I have just at least 3 ideas how this data set can be analyzed, but I don't want to bias you. Can you please formulate it once again? So what is competence area prediction?
Competence area prediction means that we will have, talking about the classifier, we will have a person who has some skills, and we will predict in what area he can find a job, for example. And it seems that the person who has skills already knows what in which area he wants to be a specialist. But I think that we will find some results, not the only one result, yes, some variants for the person who has some skills where he can find his job and what he can do, for example, for living. Yes.
Okay. Okay, we have some areas like web development, machine learning, and programming, and the list of skills that are closely connected for some certain areas. And given a list of skills, you want to say that this guy should better find a job inside machine learning rather than inside, I don't know.
For example, yes.
Web development.
Yes, for example. And maybe this person wants to work, for example, in statistics, and so we will find out that he can be good at development too.
Actually, it may work as a kind of recommendation system. So if we see that the job seeker is proficient in MySQL, for example, we will try to offer him jobs that are connected with, well, development and internet pages. If we watch the groups that are presented on the slide, but we can also try to, well, advise him what he can learn extensively to try to be more proficient and to try to well, try to find jobs in other areas. I can see that MySQL well, it has quite a lot things that are related to it. So in several steps we can get to other groups.
In fact, so this kind of analysis is pretty valuable for people at the beginning of their career at some area, because generally when you just arrive at university or just being interested in development, you don't know what should you learn to be a good specialist. Yeah, usually, so earlier this question was answered by the universities, because so they prepare the program in such way that you, after grading from the university, you are supposed to know some proper skills and tools to work as, I don't know, engineer and so on. Yeah, right now students themselves are one kind of the constructors of their educational trajectory, and this is the trend of the modern education. Yeah, so some kind of осознанное образование, yeah, something like this. I'm not sure what's the correct English translation, where you pick what to learn to be better. But generally, so becoming better is a real problem, and it's hard to understand which skills would be pretty relevant, which will die in a year or two, and how you can get from your current point to some kind of I don't know, CTO, yeah, or something like this, wherever you like to become. And I guess the best and the most closest idea that can be adapted to a project is some kind of exactly recommendation system. Yeah, so okay, you already know C++ and I don't know, PostgreSQL. So if you would learn MySQL and Elasticsearch, you can be a good professional in the area of I don't know, data warehousing, and get better salary. Yeah, so if you combine the information about user skills and the information about the vacancies, which skills are required there, you can see which skills are absent in many profiles or in this given profile, and recommend this guy to take some courses on some given skills just to become better. And it looks like a more complex problem, because so you cannot just get several skills and visit several courses. Usually you need some practical experience, and while planning where to go next, you need to understand if you will increase your skills in this area at this job, or you will just write shitty code and that's all. Yeah, and so this can also help. But to do this, you need some additional data set about not only programmer skills, but about some kind of maybe rating. Yeah, because you can either say that, okay, we would like to maximize salary, and if this big salary is proposed for this enormous list of skills, then so maybe this guy should optimize his current education to get the skills. Yeah, this is the simplest way. But in fact, it's not very simple. Lots of things required to be done to get this information. The other idea is that we can maximize the Stack Overflow rating. Yeah, for instance, I guess you're a pretty good developer if you have a rating at top 2% of the Stack Overflow, or in Kaggle, wherever it is. Yeah. So, but you're analyzing Stack Overflow, and many people that are good software developers have a pretty poor rating at Stack Overflow just because they're too lazy to contribute to the community. And this is the typical pattern. So because we just don't have time. But I'm pretty sure that most of guys who have good rating are good developers. And this can be used so as some kind of positive samples. You can say, okay, if you want to be like Guido, take these and these skills. Yeah.
But
Yes.
can high rating be beneficial for the job seekers?
No, but I'm not sure that you are talking about being a good developer.
Yeah, I see.
Good developer has nothing in common with good job because generally, I'm not sure if those things are anyway correlated. Yeah, most likely good jobs make you lazy because good job is the place where you get a lot of money and do not need to do anything. And most likely, it doesn't lead to becoming a good developer. Yeah, or so. Or we need to define the good job in some other criteria. But I'm pretty sure that for 80% of the job seekers, the place where you can get money and do nothing is a good job. Yeah. In fact, even for many guys that are pretty good developers or researchers, they are seeking for this job just because they can just visit this place once a day and then do things interesting for them. For example, teach students in HEC. I have seen several patterns just with my own eyes. Yeah, and really it gives you an opportunity to realize your kind of social capital, yeah, and gives you some freedom. So it's a good job, but many people just do not use those opportunities and become pretty lazy. And there is a joke that software developers go to die at banks, yeah. So like, you know, in ancient tribes, people went to die at deserts or some ice deserts, and software developers go to die at banks because there you don't need to do much, you have a good salary, and everything is okay, but you will not become better at the most of jobs and financial organizations. So anyway, this is some kind of discussion. Generally, I would like you to define your research hypothesis in a more qualitative way. So, for example, given the rating of the Stack Overflow person, or given the skills, we will try to predict the rating. Yeah, the first idea. Given the current list of skills, we can recommend what should be added to get better rating. Yeah, if we're focused on rating. But I think that rating is pretty good criteria. As I told you, many guys didn't participate in Stack Overflow ratings just because they're lazy. I'm lazy. I have the minimum rating enough to like, comment, and do wherever I want, but I'm not trying to make it better. Yeah, just because I'm lazy. And I'm pretty sure there are lots of guys doing the same, but guys that have good rating are most likely good developers, and we can kind of see their optimal strategy. There was an area, data development analysis. Yeah, for example, if you have some some function, some cost function, and some benefit function. So, for example, this guy spends 11 hours a day and doing some job, and he's paid, I don't know, $200. Yeah, and the other guy spends 3 hours a day and he's paid $1,000. Yeah, and the data development analysis tries to optimize the strategy what should you do with your current position to maximize your beneficial function? Yeah, there are some pretty simple models. I can try to find them for you, but it's very close to the software skills, because we can say that you're working not optimal, because given those skills, you have this rating, and if you add these and these skills, your rating can be much more improved. But in fact, I'm not sure that there is any correlation between skills and rating, since I can have pretty good skills in some area and do not maximize my rating in terms of Stack Overflow participation. Yeah, so I guess the best, the most high-rated users are those who are just giving the maximum contributions. And in fact, that's not so good, because it doesn't correlate with their hard skills. They are just community friendly. So we need to think about your final objective. So the data set is pretty good. I'm not sure that all data required for this research is inside this Kaggle page, but Stack Overflow can be scraped pretty easily, so we can get more data from there generally quickly. In fact, I have a pretty large and pretty illegal data set of different job seekers at Hunter with their skills and with the salary that they want to get paid. And this is very close to our current discussion, but really, I do not want to shift you from the Stack Overflow just because we have some kind of Hunter data set. Yeah, maybe we can still find something interesting inside Stack Overflow, because it's international, it's global, and it's legal. Yeah, after all. Because I guess there is no big crime in scraping user profiles from publicly accessible pages. So it would be great if you find some good objective that can say that your model is working or not for Stack Overflow. In terms of being a good developer, recommending some courses, and so on. So yeah, so this needs to be defined.
Okay.
I'm talking too much. Yeah. Sorry, working too long at the university.
I know you gave quite a few ideas to think over, so maybe we will change our research question based on these
You
statements.
don't need to change it. You need to specify it. Yeah. So it's still all the same.
That's what I meant.
You need some kind of countable measurement of your success. So if you can predict it well for some case, for example, you can hide some skills and predict them given the other context. Yeah, this is maybe useful because some people forget to write some skills. Yeah, so this can be solved. If you can say, okay, you need this and this skill to be better, wherever better is, and you need to think how you can quantize it. Yeah, because as I said, rating from one point of view looks pretty good. From other point of view, as I said, so we cannot take rating as some kind of absolute measurement. Yeah, we can say that all guys that at top 5% are good, and it doesn't matter if the first guy is better than the last guy among these top 5%. They're all good. And let's see what ratings, what skills do they have. And you are not inside top 5. And maybe if you will add these and these skills, you'll be closer to the top 5 software developers. Yeah, this is the idea, but you cannot take the absolute value of the rating because it can be easily, I don't know, grinded, yeah, in terms of the online RPGs, just by doing some community valuable things. I have seen guys that are just fixing the formatting of the of the answer or of the question and get, I don't remember, usually you get 1 or 2 points of rating if you made a valuable comment. And usually formatting text, making it pretty is considered a valuable comment. So you can just without any skills edit 200 questions and get something like 200 or 400 rating points. And this has nothing in common with the classical terms of rating. Yeah, I mean with skills. Yeah, just be careful with the absolute values because they are not correlated with skills strongly. Okay, so it would be great if you some kind of think about quantitative measurements of your final research and quantitative objective of your research. And since you formulate it, you can pick a consulting hour or write me a message, Telegram, and we can continue the discussion. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
So let's move on. Daniil, are you alive?
Yes. Hello.
So it's your turn now.
Yeah, just a second. I'm going to share my screen. Yeah, so can you see it?
Yes.
Yeah, so
very close to the previous topic.
yeah, just from the other point of view, I think. So my topic is 3 clustering in the analysis of advertisements of work in vacancies. So as it can be seen, IT environment constantly changes. New skills, new languages are added almost every day. So it's hard to, it makes it hard for job seekers to make a decision what work to choose, which skills to upgrade or just learn new. Also, general programming and IT trends do not 100% correspond to the real world environment. Like, for example, if you want to work as a data scientist, it doesn't just mean that you have to know statistics and machine learning algorithms. Most of the time, you also need an experience with databases and languages correlated with that. And the biggest questions that I want an answer to is what the real world employers need from new recruits. So what I've done is I've collected I've scrapped about 10,000 vacancies texts from Glassdoor, from 10 of the most trendy vacancies, such as data scientist, web developer, and so on, which contain what I'm most interested in is job description. So the biggest problem I face right now is data parsing, because from the text of job vacancy, from the job description, what I really want to see is a list of 3 things: the responsibilities, the requirements, and working conditions that this job provide or need. And right now, I've done a combination of like machine learning and handwork, because I'm working on this alone, and I don't want to parse all the texts and get all these 3 lists by myself. So what I've used is I found a library which uses BERT as a base for sentences clustering, and try to extract, as I call them, key sentences, such as what we need, what will you do, what we provide, and so on, because as we can expect, every text is quite different, and these phrases can be phrased very differently. So I've tried to clusterize all the sentences in every text, and then manually go through them and find the clusters which contain such phrases. So yeah, well, what I want to get from each text is 3 lists, such as requirements, as experience with software development lifecycle tools, Git, Jira, responsibilities, working environments, and these flag phrases, which I try to extract, like preferred qualifications, experience, education, key responsibilities, which, as you can see, are very different from each other. So yeah, what I want, I've done this research before, but before I used another approach to parse the text, so the result wasn't that good, in my opinion. And this time I wanted to, I've used the method I just explained to extract new phrases. In my opinion, again, it looks a lot better. And what I want to do right now is to build a network of interconnected nodes where the phrases such as requirements, responsibilities, and work environments from same texts are correlated, and to do a 3-way clustering of those parameters to finally bring more clarity to what jobs and needs current market holds. Yeah, so I think that's all I want to say.
Okay. That sounds like pretty good projects, and the strategy for detecting the most important sections look pretty nice to me. But generally, first of all, I'd rather try to find some kind of non-manual fact, or I don't know, named entities or skills extraction from the text. Yeah, because it requires lots of time in terms of text preprocessing. I'm not sure if it was hard to extract those samples, and if you have extracted them properly, but maybe the good strategy is to try to find some weighting function between 2 persons or between 2 vacancies, in your case, and say that, okay, those vacancies are very close to each other. What's the difference between them? And doing it just to try to detect what are the most important parts of the vacancy, ignoring the things that we're constantly developing company that seeks for new slaves to work for us. Yeah, and I have started thinking how this can be done without manual annotation or handwritten rules, because most likely it's possible.
Yeah, just it's a very complicated topic in NLP, as I see it, because I've seen not quite a lot of papers on this topic specifically. I mean, knowledge extraction from the vacancies text. I found a few, but I can't access them.
I'm pretty sure you're a bad Googler, because I guess there are lots of approaches to do this, and you can generalize your search query just to fact or a relation or entity extraction from text, because it really doesn't make much difference if works work good for detecting important blocks of the total description. Then most likely this method will be pretty good for detecting important blocks and the vacancy detection. Yeah, you were just too focused on the precise area. But there are lots of methods to detect important blocks inside the text, and this kind of generalized area can be Googled easily. The question here is data, because so if you have this kind of measurement function that tells you that those two vacancies are close, then it's great. And the simplest way that can be done here is just if you're a headhunter and you know who is responding to some vacancies, or even better, who is being invited to the interview, yeah, for some vacancies, then most likely you can say that, okay, if this guy was simultaneously invited to these, and these vacancies, then there is something in common with them. And the things that are in common are more important. The things that are different are less important, and let's try to ignore them, because I hope not all vacancies contain the block about the young, dynamically growing company. Yeah, I hope so. And this could be the good strategy. The problem is that we're not hunter, and we do not see the responses of different people of different vacancies. And
I'm just not sure. Sorry, I thought about it, but can you actually find like data on which vacancies the user responded to? Like, isn't it close to other people?
Yeah. That's the main problem.
Yeah. Okay.
Generally, no, things are not so bad, because you can some kind of make a pretty good guess. For instance, if you scrape data for a relatively long period of time, you can see, for example, snapshot of the user when he was seeking for the job, and then, I don't know, 3 years later, the snapshot of the same user seeking for a new job. And if you're lucky, you can see that, okay, he spent 3 years working with this shitty campaign. Let's see if it had some vacations 3 years ago. Oh, here it is. Most likely, this is the vacation that he picked up. Yeah, but this is still too hard to deal with, and still no measurement functions here. I'm thinking about some skills at LinkedIn, because at some period of time they have skills and different people can vote for them, and it was publicly open. I'm not sure that it's happening now. But generally, we're talking too much about finding the most important parts of the vacancy. Maybe your approach to just write several manual rules is pretty good. It's because you already have results, and I'm dreaming about some models that can maybe solve this problem. The more important question that I have is, so where the social network analysis starts? We have the information about important blocks. We can cluster this kind of important blocks, features, metrics, yeah, and see which of those blocks are some kind of correlated, and drove those blocks into some kind of vacancy clusters. Yeah, that sounds pretty good in terms of NLP and that's okay with the idea, but what about the social network analysis? What are we going to do with SNA?
Yeah, now that you question, now that you asked the question, I'm not really sure.
Okay, so then in fact the story is very close to the guys that have just talked a minute ago about the Stack Overflow, because it's really the same problem with another point of view. Yeah, and since you have a list of most important skills for some given vacancies, or okay, flag phrases that you call them, yeah, because most likely the skill is not just one word but a phrase. Yeah,
yes,
that's correct. By the way, I guess you can use just skip gram phraser to extract the most frequently disturbed phrases at your corpora.
yeah, I've tried that approach, but that works like really horribly, because it extracts like really common phrases or words which are not very useful, like at all.
But what if we look inside phrases for that are located in these kind of important blocks? They still are looking for responsible and I don't know, well, forward-thinking worker.
Yeah, something like that.
That's bad. Oh, okay. Generally, so the good idea here is exactly some kind of fact extraction, yeah, because you can just combine results with the second group, and I would also like to see some kind of suitable and important skills that are required or that are mentioned by an employee at his resume. Yeah, it would be really great. And detecting these skills looks like a pretty simple task in terms of NLP, but since you start working with it, you see that you either manually write all of them, or there is lots of garbage there, and it's hard to fix it. Yeah, and maybe the good idea here is just try to take, for example, most important skills mentioned in Stack Overflow, and using the connectivity graph that guys from Stack Overflow has visualized, you can try to find those skills inside texts of vacancies at Glassdoor.
And so, like, predict the best job for the user, or what?
Not predict best job for the user. Just try to find them properly, because it's a hard enough problem. Yeah, because there are lots of wrong correlations. I don't know. PC user, yeah, I don't know. So, and you see PC. If you try to handle it with just NLP tools, most likely you will start as you have started. We have discussed it a minute ago. I know these problems because I tried such kind of experiments. Yeah, I was more generalized. I tried to. So my idea was to build some kind of job atlas at Hunter, because there are many people seeking jobs, and I was trying to clusterize them. And what's the good criteria for clusterization? Most likely the skills that users have. And surprise, half of the people do not highlight their skills at all. They just write a long read about their previous job and how they were, I don't know, solving problems there. And this text contains lots of skills that can be extracted from these data, but generally it's not some kind of tag or label that you can just pick. Yeah, you need to extract it. And if you start manually writing rules for the extraction, you're dead because there are too many of them. On the other version, on the other kind of block, many people do not have skills at all. For example, I don't know, what skill can you write if you're an office manager?
Like experience
that
with
you arrive at
Excel.
working time. Nah. This is not the skill that that is really valuable. Yeah, and that's the problem. And you need to clusterize those guys also somehow. Yeah. So, and you know, working with computer, if you're an office manager, so some kind of computer using, and working with computer, if you're I don't know, a software developer or even Excel, yeah, it's quite a different skill because if I am a software developer, for example, .NET Windows developer, and I wrote 5 plugins for Excel to, I don't know, to download data from Excel and put it to some SQL database. I write Excel in my skill, and there is Baba Mania that can open Excel table, and she also writes Excel there. And those cases are totally different. And if I try to clusterize those guys, I'll get total garbage. Yeah. So there is some contextual information of skills, and in fact, it goes even stronger if you dive into the structure of occupation. The same position has totally different skills. I can be manager at Peterочка, or I can be manager at Gazprom. And most likely those skills are different, but my job title is the same. Yeah, given the same skills, I can do totally different functionality, and this can be extracted from texts. So really, it's very hard to compare people between each other and thus to cluster them. And maybe extracting more kind of most important skills from these textual descriptions will somehow help this question. Because so if Baba Mania mentioned something about Excel, but she is not pretending to work with computer, this skill could be ignored or just not taken into account. Yeah, or something like this, and just making this skill extraction pretty good will really increase the quality of your data parsing. So my final idea is, okay, so since you're doing NLP, don't stop doing NLP. You have already spent some time working on it. But I guess that we can say that your SNA project is injecting SNA data about skills, how they're correlated with each other, to make your NLP engine that extracts requirements and responsibilities and so on better. So injecting social network information to some fact extraction tool leads to better results. And this can be an SNA project. What do you think about it?
Yeah, sounds great.
Okay, so then you need to dive into those knowledge injection tools, and I can find several articles that may be useful for you. So generally, our idea is that if skills are frequently mentioned by different developers in one profile, then those skills are somehow correlated, and we're supposing to see something about PostgreSQL if we have seen the skill SQL, or I don't know, relational databases. Yeah, we would give more probability to those skills rather than to other all possible skills wherever they are. Yeah, and this will contextualize our model and lead it to better prediction of skills from the text of wherever it is, from the resume, from the vacancy description, and so on, so on, so on. Yeah, this is the idea.
Yeah,
Let's try to do this research. I guess you can participate in the previous group if they are okay with it from Stack Overflow. Yeah, because you will need this graph and maybe you can make some contribution in generation of this graph just to help guys. And then the thing that you need to do is to inject this graph knowledge to detect necessary skills better. Of course, so this will not help you with working environments like work remotely and so on, but maybe these flag phrases like 6 years of experience in Python 3.10, yeah, which is impossible. But just because so this information has no reference to this skill graph, but all the rest can be detected much better, and this can be used. Yeah.
Okay.
And besides this working environment, it looks like just a simple list. There are 3, maybe 5 categories, and you need to make a small sampling and kind of a supervised model that detects works remotely, and so on, so on, so on. Yeah. So these things can be solved easily manually, but the skills is a real problem, and you can try to use network information to make this parser better.
Okay.
I'm again repeating myself, sorry for that. But so this sounds like an interesting project and related to social network analysis. By the way, are you doing this project with your supervisor, or this is your just?
No, it's already like I'm on my own.
Did you have any natural language processing course at your previous years of studying? So you're familiar with all these kind of attention models, language modeling, and all this stuff.
Yeah,
that's great. Okay, then it would be much easier for you to understand how knowledge injection works if you.
Just haven't done it practically yet.
Oh, okay. So I guess this would be a really interesting project in this case, because as I told you at the first lecture, half of social network analysis is just some additional data, additional knowledge for existing models from recommender systems, from NLP, and so on. And this is exactly this case.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, thank you.
The same thing as with previous speakers, just visit one of the consultings and we can try to discuss it in more details, because I guess Christina is very upset with our
yes, sorry.
chat discussion.
Okay, goodbye.
Okay, bye. Christina, you're welcome. Finally, you were kind of the first speaker, almost the first, and that is the last speaker, but I hope you're not too disappointed with it.
All is okay. I'm not upset.
Все свалили, мы можем по-русски остаться.
Все, отлично, хорошо. Ну, в общем, мой как research project относится к communication structure within the ODS community.
Давайте это next skip, потому что мы же с вами его и так обсуждали 40 минут. Вы скажите, что поменялось. И
в общем, смотрите, у меня получилось воспользоваться Slack Dumper. Там, правда, разбирался с куки, с...
Это то, что я вам скидывал как раз, да? Да. Куку надо было вытащить и ее в него засунуть.
Да.
Это было несложно, я надеюсь.
Это было несложно, просто там была сложность в том, что он мне постоянно говорил, что там мой токен is expired, у меня там с кэшем были проблемы, но в итоге получилось все сделать. И, знаете, я заметила такую странную вещь. В общем, если, вот как говорилось в этой инструкции, если создать текстовый файл с ID каналов и скачивать с помощью него как бы всю информацию из каналов, то почему-то у меня скачивалось меньше информации, короче, из меньшего числа каналов, чем если бы я это делала вручную. Почему-то такая вот... Я, может быть, что-то неправильно делала, но в итоге обнаружилось 412 каналов, и только из 81 у меня получилось как бы вручную скачать сообщение.
Вручную или автоматически?
Ну вот автоматически меньше гораздо, а вручную из 81. Я не знаю, он
вручную что значит? Это...
Ну, я просто ID вводила, ну, просто вводила ID каждого канала.
Ну, слушайте, как бы тулза чужая, то есть я не знаю, что у него там в потрохах сидит, звучит как то, что у него просто где-то там протухает сессия, он не может получить информацию, но идет дальше, особо там
Да,
не вдаваясь
так
в
и было.
подробности.
То есть он пропускал, прям, ну, там были строчки, где он там пишет, что там, типа ошибка, и он приступает к поиску следующего канала, и там тоже возникает ошибка, из некоторых он скачал. Ну, и также я скачала данные о юзерах, там порядка 70 тысяч юзеров, если я правильно посчитала. И, как я понимаю, там реальные пользователи и боты.
Ну, юзеры вам сильно не помогут, насколько я понимаю.
Ну да.
Какая там информация про пользователей есть, кроме ника?
Так, сейчас открою еще. Ну, там удалены данные о юзере или нет, является ли юзер ботом или нет. То есть там сейчас реальное имя.
Я знаю, я даже знаю этого человека, скорее всего. Ну, хотя, конечно, Семен распространенный.
Да, вот.
Вы не поверите, он тоже занимается сетевым анализом. Из бот, из админ, что еще интересного есть? Ну, апдейт это разве что флаг того, что человек живой, может быть полезно, а все остальное там, не очень ценно. Ну, окей, бог с ними. Есть 70 тысяч пользователей, наверное, можно выкинуть ботов и отсеять людей, которые там не обновляли профили больше 2 лет, года хотя бы, потому что, ну, возможно, хотя даже зачем, мы и так будет лучше, активности нет. Короче, ботов выкинуть, это, да, полезно.
И также, знаете, я поискала, ну, в некоторых телеграм-каналах, в чатах вообще про ОДС, что писали по поводу того, что они переходят на бесплатный этот план.
Они переходят тоже, их тоже кикнули.
Ну, не поняла вас.
Не-не-не, ну, короче, вы продолжайте.
Да. Вот, в общем, этот ОДС перешел на бесплатный тариф, и, как я понимаю, там как главное ограничение, что не сохраняются сообщения там за какое-то время.
Да.
Вот, и, возможно, и также я читала, там некоторые пользователи писали, видимо, которые там, ну, давно сидят, долго сидели, они говорят, что некоторые люди, они даже просили удалить их аккаунты и все их комментарии, и там даже некоторые каналы сносили. Возможно, как бы из-за того, что из-за этой проблемы...
Сколько постов вы вот эти собрать смогли?
Сейчас, можете еще раз повторить, что-то мне со звуком?
Постов-то сколько вы вытащили?
Постов, вот я пока их... Вот у меня, я, видимо, что-то неправильно делаю с этими JSON-файлами, но у меня почему-то вот сейчас получилась табличка, вот у нее мало как-то получается строк сейчас. То есть у меня всего 554 строки и 28 колонок.
Да, еще половину бота.
Да, да, да. И вот почему-то вот такие важные вещи, как parent user ID, оно вообще not a number обозначается. То есть, как я
А что такое
понимаю,
parent user ID?
как я понимаю, это вот смотрите, вот я открываю какой-нибудь канал, там, допустим, Deep Learning, и человек вот пишет, вот такой-то вот юзер пишет, так. Вот такой-то вот юзер пишет какое-нибудь
Слушайте,
сообщение, и ему, сейчас, нет, это, наверное, плохой пример, вот пишет сообщение, и у него здесь отображается информация, где тут, про реплаи, сколько человек ответило, reply count, типа 175, и
пошли реплай.
да, пошли реплай, вот тот, и их текст, и, как я понимаю, parent user ID – это, видимо, тот человек, который
А давайте
написал…
просто ну да, и parent user ID. То есть кому он реплай.
Да-да-да, кому он реплайл. То есть это, ну,
Какая убогая модель. Ну ладно, хорошо.
то есть, как я понимаю, это, ну, важная информация. Так можем как раз построить, видимо, сеть с помощью вот parent user ID, то есть как, ну, кто отвечал кому.
Ну, не совсем. Короче, смотрите. Шаг первый. Я вас призываю, ну, да, я что-то подумал, что ОДС проблемы не коснется. Я, если честно, был уверен, что у них тариф вообще там бесплатный. Ну, в смысле…
Да, да-да-да, у них был…
Нет. Короче, ну, в ОДС, я не помню сколько, но точно несколько тысяч пользователей есть. Да? То есть это огромная тусовка, там, десятков тысяч. Вот. То есть канал реально огромный. У Slack платная подписка, она берет по $5 в месяц, что ли, с каждого пользователя. И ну, как бы, это реально довольно дорого для просто канала, где народ общается, вот, платить full прайс за каждого мембера, которые ну, даже не являются там, членами какой-то организации, то есть кто за них платить-то будет. Я был в полной уверенности, что они просто со Slack договорились и им сделали ну, бесплатный канал, потому что они там типа образовательные чуваки. Ну, как-то так, да?
И знаете, ага, там, извините, что перебиваю, я просто сразу скажу, что эта информация появилась в марте, что их переводят на бесплатный тариф, их просто поставили перед фактом, и там какой-то чувак, он заплатил, ну, он, видимо, работает за границей, может себе это позволить, он заплатил $500 000 оплатил как бы на месяц там какой-то бизнес-плюс ради того, чтобы они выгрузили данные, я прочитала.
Вот, я к тому и веду. Я вот как бы поскупился покупать бизнес-плюс, ну то, что у нас тоже был наш внутри организации Slack, и вот те же самые проблемы все были, мы сидели на платном тарифе, а как бы бизнес-плюс не покупали. И чтобы вытащить весь контент до того, как он превратится в скрипту, я буквально вот там вот этим скриптом все выгружал. Но он меня, кстати, не банил. У меня с этим проблем не было. Вопрос, а вот чтобы выгрузить все данные, они в итоге все данные это выгрузили?
Ну, как вот сказать, все, как бы из этих вот 81 каналов… Если…
Нет, не вы выгрузили, а у них эта история чем закончилась. Я вам предлагаю, ну, просто в голубом глазу прийти и сказать, ребята, я вот типа хотела проанализировать слаковские сообщества и посмотреть там, кто вообще самый крутой. Но оказывается, что вот я чуть-чуть не успела, и как бы уже пространство превратилось в тыкву. Поделитесь, пожалуйста, кто-нибудь там официальным или неофициальным дампом, там, в личке или еще где-нибудь. Вот, все в образовательных целях. Ну,
да,
я думаю, что можно вот где-то там вот под этим обсуждением, которое вы рассказываете, что человек там, ну, короче, вот, на Business Plus перешел, они же это сделали для того, чтобы буквально канал, ну, текст вытащить. Ну, что уж поделиться, нет.
Ну да,
Ну, спросите, чем быстрее вы этот вопрос зададите, тем, скорее всего, ну, больше шансов, что кто-нибудь его увидит и там что-нибудь ответит. Я уверен, что людей, которые, вот, в отличие от меня, пока там, подорвались и все-таки дамп сделали, их много, и можно это написать либо там оргом, просто вот, личку и еще как-то, либо написать такой крик души, там есть же канал с датасетами, типа вот ребята там собралась вот ОДС проанализировать, как бы, оказывается уже вот все на бесплатном тарифе, и вот сообщений получилось спарсить типа с открытых каналов там вот, короче, единиц.
ну да, а вот на этих 81 если сделать, это будет...
У вас не 81 канал, у вас 500 сообщений. Вы на 500 сообщениях какую-то там инфлюенс-модель не построите.
Мгм.
Надо было заниматься в Контачевом. Ну, слушайте, как бы реально, ну, смотрите, у вас один, скажем так, одно сообщение, даже реплай, это примерно, около 25 строчек кода. Вот. Какое общее количество строчек вот здесь вот? Давайте
Здесь
вниз.
конкретно вот в этом канале про ODS Policy Prior тут 40 тысяч. В
Хорошо.
канале про Random Politics тут 200. Ну, это Random Politics, про Deep Learning тут...
Давайте 40 тысяч делим на 25. 1600 постов. Про диплёнинг у вас получилось вытащить сколько?
Ну, там 3800 получается.
3800 делим на 25. Получаем еще 120 постов. В общем, вы, скорее всего, если все это сложите, то у вас 10 тысяч последних постов получится. Но с учетом того, что качалка где-то там в процессе отваливалась, не все до конца докачала или не все, не во все каналы вообще дошла, то у вас получится там, скорее всего, 1005 постов. Как бы в целом, конечно, там можно на этом попытаться сделать анализ. Но если вам кто-нибудь даст нормальный дамп, полноценный, то это будет гораздо приятнее и веселее. Потому что даже у нашего маленького вшивого слака момент, когда вот все это дело закрывалось, было что-то в районе то ли 200, то ли 250 тысяч сообщений. Да? Но у нас там, извините, и сидело 30 человек. А здесь сидело 20 тысяч человек. Вы представляете, сколько они написали за несколько лет?
Ну, это да, это да.
То есть, как бы вся прелесть вот этого исследования была в том, что мы вот все сообщество анализируем, а мы, получается, тут даже 1% не удивительно. С точки зрения там ковыряния с методами, все это, наверное, там работает, но с точки зрения того, что дата не торт, вот прям вот все очень грустно. Поэтому я вот предлагаю, правда, вот поспрашивать в каналах, кто успел сделать дамп, и может ли этот кто-то там этим дампом, не знаю, поделиться анонимизированным, не анонимизированным, но все равно. То есть, как бы нам нужны айтишники авторов и тексты. Лучше, если они, конечно, там полноценный дамп скинут. Я уверен, что людей, которые сделали дамп, их реально много. То есть, там, скорее всего, народ не поленился. Так, дайте я сам туда зайду. Что происходит? Где это все создалось в General?
Нет, я говорю, это в Телеграм-канале, там в одном чате, я просто у себя в поиске там вбила ОДС и начала вот по каналам, в которых я состою, вот искать информацию.
А там же можно получить список всех каналов. Окей, я понял, вы просто искали. Да, видно, они, короче, ввели ограничения. Так, а по слову дамп что-нибудь можно поискать? Что-то прошло. Ну, вон там, смотрите, Андрей Хомяк, а то у меня только дамп ODS есть.
Андрей, это который админ, наверное.
Сейчас, one day ago. Какие книжки посоветуете о диктатурах цензуры по отношению? Ну, короче, вот Андрей Хомяк пишет, что у него есть дамп ODS. Чтобы ему написать, типа, поделись. Можно сделать себе личный бесплатный Slack и загрузить туда там ODS одного канала с фильтром. 10К последних сообщений канала. Тоже найти нужно. Проверить, так как многие имеют там ODS. ODS приезжает из дампа, в нем пока неудобно искать. Ну, вы просто по слову дамп поищите. Вон, сори за словопочество, где дамп взять. И вон ссылка на архив.
Сейчас, простите, это вы смотрите в самом Slack или в Телеграме где-то?
В Slack.
А, в Slack. Угу.
Ну, давайте пошарим.
Ага, тогда я остановлю. Угу.
Microsoft на ODS дамп лидер. Как читает. Ну, это jobs, то есть это маленькая какая-то шмота. Можно не скрапить, а скачать официальный дамп. Лучше сделать запрос в Wikidata. Начать можно с этого запроса. Что он там отвечает? Список городов, это там в Википедии. Там. Ушел. Dumps. Экспорт. Это очень интересно, только нихуя непонятно. Напишите вот этого крока, получилось у него дамп найти. Потому что он спрашивал 9 дней назад. Логично, что как бы это самое. Ну, логично, что у него там чем-то кончилось. Вон, Андрей Хомяк, пожалуйста. Тоже, кстати, Random Talks. Давайте по-английски получим. Ну, хорошо, почему-то. Вот, видите, Татив Габру. Есть дамп, и в нем неудобно искать. Ну, вот так. ей напишите, тоже может поделиться.
Мгм.
Давайте просто его найдем, а то я что-то понял, что мы просрали. Ну, у Натюкина, очевидно, там есть. Я не знаю, захочет он делиться или нет. Короче, я вам предлагаю вот сейчас вот про вот эту шорт-листу пройти и как бы вопрос за 5000 евро в месяц решается. Спросите вот у этих трех, могут ли они дамки поделиться.
Окей. Не обязательно им объяснять, что это в целях научных целях. Там.
Ну, чем более слезливое письмо вы напишете, тем больше шансов, что кто-нибудь все-таки там согласится.
Окей.
Вот этот Slack dump выгружал не в том формате. Но вот этот вот ДМК, очевидно, написал выгружалку. Вряд ли он ее написал просто так. Скорее всего, там есть, может быть, прям вот здесь вот в репке что-нибудь usage, create export, wait for complete, книжка examples, Slack export viewer. Ну, вот это вы напишите, то есть, типа, скажите, что вот, да, проспали, дамп не сделали, потому что я почти уверен, что ну, чувак дампалку написал, наверное, все-таки у него и вот самый сам дамп валяется, ну, зальет куда-нибудь. Короче, вот все, кто нашлись по слову дамп, предлагаю вот циркулярно опросить.
Да, окей.
Это нам сильно поможет. Вот. Ну, как бы, давайте за выходные сделаем мини-перерыв, потому что, ну, как бы, сейчас можно заморочиться и распарсить те 10 тысяч сообщений, которые вытянули вы, но, прям скажем, будет не очень полезно, потому что, ну, а что там? Ну,
Ну да,
10
я...
тысяч – это маленький-маленький кусочек. А потом окажется, что дамп, который выгрузили там кто-то еще, он совсем в другом формате, и надо парсить начало, начинать сначала, заново писать. Короче, я вам предлагаю вот за выходные попытаться вытрясти там, ну, понедельник дамп. Если дамп вытрясти не получится, то будем придумывать, как выкручиваться и что с этим делать вообще, да. Если получится, то, ну, как бы проблемы у нас будут совсем другие. Ну, в том смысле, что дальше просто продолжим заниматься исследованием. Вот, как-то так. Блин, как же так? Почему слово дамп так хреново ищется? Я не понимаю.
Почему вообще Slack решил лишить бесплатного, ну, не бесплатного, а вот так вот?
Они не решили, они запретили оплату из... нет, да, они всех людей из России как бы заблокали. То есть до конца подписки действовали, а продлять они ее запретили. Я продлил, если можно было там с какой-нибудь турецкой карты продлить. Они просто сказали, нет, ты из России, иди нахуй. Ну, вот, потому что Slack против специальной военной операции. Ничего не сделаешь. Download, examples, description, user guide, Slack application.
Это
Ну,
также...
странно. Столько дампалок, и никто дамп не выложил. Короче, давайте остановимся сейчас, потому что что-то мы долго уже смотрим. Я вот там в явном виде не вижу, но давайте хотя бы вот это погуглим. ODS, Slack, дамп. Может, что-нибудь. Diffusion, Deploy, Slack in the Market, Colorado. Ну, Короче, гуглом ничего интересного не находится, так, на скидку. Но давайте вот этим вот ребятам напишем. И, ну, там, напишите вы, а если там будет все плохо, то я пойду в остальных трясти и спрашивать, где дам взять. Хорошо?
Да, окей. Хорошо.
Я думаю, что нам всем будет, знаете, полезно его получить. А то, видите, здесь как оптимистично, то есть даже не почитаешь ничего. Все, что обещал себе почитать когда-нибудь потом, теперь уже и не почитаешь. Ай. В общем, потрясите с ребят дам, и давайте будем рассчитывать, что мы его все-таки откуда-нибудь возьмем, а дальше уже там будем разбираться. Окей?
Да, тут, оказывается, был какой-то канал с дампом. Ну,
О.
имею в виду в этом, в Телеграме, а его удалили. Вот пишет. Да.
Канал с дампом в Slack нету. Jobs dump. Ну, короче, давайте там потрясите их насчет дампа, потому что я чуть, если честно, был в полной уверенности, что ОДС, ну, как-нибудь там решит этот вопрос. Ну, там был миллион способов решить этот вопрос. Зарегать комьюнити заново и экспортнуть в нее все данные, там, зарегав его где-нибудь в Штатах, вот, пожалуйста. То есть там, ну, миллион способов можно было это сделать.
Они, насколько я знаю, вообще на другую платформу будут переезжать. Они писали.
Ну, я вот, видите, что-то совсем в танке. Жопа висит, митинги. Там от Натюкина письмо на почту приходило. Ну, в общем, да, надо как-то попытаться перебраться в новую платформу и, может быть, это в субботу Москва, Random Paper. 12:00. Мы с вами уже опоздали. Короче, трясите дам с народу, ладно?
Угу.
На следующей неделе там отпишитесь в телегу, что получилось, не получилось, где-нибудь там в понедельник, вторник. А
Да,
если
окей.
получится, я тоже попробую побегать, поискать. Но в целом, я думаю, что дам в любом случае надо найти. Все, давайте тогда. До
Да,
связи.
хорошо. Все, спасибо, до свидания.